Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here with another episode, the 13th episode of Battle of the Masterpiece Albums. So this is a show in which I decided, at one point that I was wondering if the masterpiece albums that I had nostalgically, the ones I had for years, still held up to being my favorite albums of all time. And so I decided to make this Battle of the Masterpiece Albums. So I've got 15 episodes in total, with the last one having 5 of the albums because I only have 61 in my collection. So I picked 4 more today. So what I'm going to do is I'll introduce each of the albums. Then we'll go back and I'll talk about each of the albums, and then I'll give you my ranking of them. So the first album on the list is Peter Gabriel's 3. There's his third album, or Melt Face, some people like to call it. This was released in 1980. Next up, Yes's Tormato, released in 1978. Next up, Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast, released in 1982. And last, but certainly not least, Pieces of 8 from Styx, released in 1978. We've got a couple albums from 78, one from 1980 and one from 1982. So we're going to do these kind of in the order that I gave them to you initially. You'll have to excuse me, got some problems with my throat today. So we'll talk first about Peter Gabriel's 3. So this is a great album. Probably Gabriel's best album. Everything on here is fantastic. It's got probably one of my favorite rock songs of all time, with Games Without Frontiers. But there are some real strong individual tracks on here. I Don't Remember, with that Tarzan yell, fantastic tune. Biko, which finishes the album, also another one of my favorite Peter Gabriel songs. And then you've got some deep cuts that are really strong here. Intruder, which has that drum beat that Phil Collins plays on here, and he uses the same kind of drum sound in his own first solo album, which comes out next year, or 1981, sorry. But there are some deep cuts in here that are really good. No Self-Control, Not One of Us, and Lead a Normal Life. These are and Through the Wire, all really catchy, really great, fantastic songs. Catchy melodies, great vocals, and some fantastic lyrics. This is a strong, strong album. Even songs like Family Snapshot, which I initially didn't care for when I first heard the album. It kind of had to grow on me a bit over time. Yeah, so very strong album. Definitely going to be a challenger here, I think. Well, all of them will be because they're masterpieces. Next up is Tormato. Yes's Tormato came out in 1978. It's a bit different than a lot of other Yes albums. This was the one many people felt the band was on a verge of breakup. There's a lot of dissension in the band, a lot of in-house fighting, if you want. This also had 8 songs on it, which is kind of a bit unheard for a Yes album, at least back in the 70s. Some people complain that this sounds disjointed, that some of the songs sound thin, that there's not as great a collection of tracks here as you would get on some of the other albums. I guess I beg to differ with it. This is one of my top 5 favorite Yes albums, made a masterpiece. It was one I loved a lot when I first got it, played it a lot. It does have some interesting tracks to it. I think the thin sound is, you don't get as a strong forward a guitar play as you've got on some of the previous albums, and that's what I think people are referring to. Also, Rick Wakeman is now playing the Biotron as opposed to the Mellotron, and a lot of people don't like the sound of that instrument as much as the Mellotron. But I think the tracks are well written and put together. Some of my favorite Yes tracks are on this album. It starts out the first half dozen songs, or no, the first 3 songs on the album, or 4 songs on the album: Future Times, Rejoice, Don't Kill the Whale, Mad Rigel, and Release are on the first side, I believe. And yeah, not as good a side of an album as some of the albums we've been doing for this masterpiece, but I still like Release. I still like the Future Time, Rejoice track that's at the front. The only 2 on that Mad Rigel's okay, but Don't Kill the Whale adds a little bit, not really my style. The back side of this album is where they really come alive and are strong. Arriving UFO, probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's up there in the top 2, probably. Circus of Heaven, I really like this song, despite the stuff that it has to deal with people's not liking it, thinking it's a weak song, should have been on a John Anderson album, all that kind of stuff. I think John's voice is fantastic on this song, and I do like the lyrics quite a bit. Probably the lyrics I know the best of any of the songs on the album. Onward, this one's gotten some play on live albums as well. Pretty decent song, but it really comes together on the final track, On the Silent Wings of Freedom, which I think is one of the best deep cuts Yes songs ever. It should be on almost any live album, should be played. They don't play it, and it's unfortunate because I think it's an absolutely fantastic track. Has all the elements you like in Yes. Great guitar playing, heavy bass, great keyboards. The song itself, very progressive, and so John Anderson's voice is great as well. So, Tormato. Next up is Iron Maiden's The Number of the Beast. It's kind of burned out over the years. I think some of the Iron Maiden that I've been listening to more, especially recently, I think has put this a little bit more in a different light for me. I don't think this is as great an album as I originally thought it was, but still really good. It's got some of the classic Iron Maiden stuff on it. Children of the Dam, fantastic. Invaders, really good. The Prisoner, one of the most well-known Iron Maiden tracks, of course. The Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills are the big numbers that were played a lot on the radio. And then Gangland, really good. And then you've got the last track on here, Hallowed Be Thy Name. Many say is the best Iron Maiden track ever made. I can't argue it. There's a few other tracks on a few other albums I think challenge it, but it is definitely one of the greatest Iron Maiden tracks. Really showcases Bruce Dickinson's vocals here fantastically. 22 Acacia Avenue and Gangland, Total Eclipse. These are all kind of deep cuts that are quite good as well. The whole album is pretty strong though, and a fantastic cover on it as well. Next up, the last one here, Styx's Pieces of Eight. Initially, I never liked this cover, but it's grown on me extensively. I do like the back cover part of it as well. There are no weak tracks on here. There's a couple of tracks that most people tend to ignore, like The Message and Aku Aku, which are basically instrumentals. But the other 8 tracks are all fantastic. Every single one of them. Even Blue Collar Man, Renegade, and what's the other one? I think it's those 2 anyways are the big hits from the album. Well known, lots of radio play. Both of them got extensive play on the radio. Both sung by Tommy Shaw. Absolute killer tracks. But the deep cuts are really what set this album apart from other Styx albums. Lord of the Rings, Pieces of Eight. These are really great deep cuts, and to me, they're very proggy too, both of these songs. Queen of Spades, throw that in there. That's probably my favorite Styx song of all time, really. And then you've got some of the other stuff like Sing for the Day, I'm Okay, Great White Hope. These are all really good deep cuts. Great White Hope being more of a hard rock song. I'm Okay is kind of a vocal charged song. Sing for the Day is the other Tommy Shaw song on the album, which I think gets quite a bit of airplay and should. It's a great deep cut. It's a fantastic album with lots of different variety, lots of hard rock, lots of almost metal sounds on some of the tracks, some very good prog here as well, and a lot of interesting noises and sounds throughout of it, and all three vocalists getting to sing here really well. So there you go. Those are the 4 albums that I have for today's Battle of the Masterpiece albums. I've listened to them all. I've talked all about them. Now it's time to give you my ranking. So I'll give it to you from least to best, or fourth to first if you want. So the number 4 one is going to be this one. I know that's going to surprise some people. Peter Gabriel comes in here 4th. Strong album, but I think the other albums are just a tiny bit stronger. Each of them was a bit of a hair or higher. The winner, of course, won fairly easily, but this album, still a great album, even though it's come here at number 4. Number 3 is this one, which hasn't stood up as well as I thought it would over the years, but it's still doing very well, enough to beat out Peter Gabriel 3 so strong. This was the closest of the 4 battles between them. This one won basically because I listened to them both, and this one just had more of appeal for me today. So number 2, I love this album. I know it gets a lot of negative reviews from people, but I do like it a lot. Tormato. The Silent Wings of Freedom, I think, is better than just about anything on the other 2 albums, except for maybe Games Without Frontiers. But the overall progressive sound of this album and John's voice really, I think, just hairs it out so it gets to the 3rd spot. And I enjoyed it quite a bit or the other day when I listened to it. The winner is going to be Pieces of 8. Probably wasn't going to be a big surprise for anybody. I still love this album. Dennis DeYoung is fantastic on here, and Tommy Shaw is probably his best ever as well. And the one song that they... Actually, I think he sang 2, Lord of the Rings 2, Great White Hope and Lord of the Rings. Jay's Wise, sounding great. The album is fantastic, very proggy. One of their proggiest albums, I think. And I've loved it because of all of the different elements on it, but mainly because of the harmony vocals, which I think are among the best. So it won fairly easily. I think the score I gave it was higher than the other albums, and it just really wasn't challenged as much as I thought it was going to be here. So Styx's Pieces of 8 will go on to the semifinals as well. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Battle of the Masterpiece albums. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments in the comment section below, you can. And we will be back next Saturday with the 14th episode. We're down to just 2 episodes left before we get to the semis. So let's see what happens, and hopefully see you next week. Take care and have a good one. Goodbye.